how do you recover from a brutal war? As Uganda struggles to reconcile its violent past, education offers a glimmer of hope. Special correspondent Fred de Sam Lazaro reports on one effort to teach former child soldiers. It's part of his series, Agents for Change.
The residents of Lamunu, like many communities in this region, are trying to regain their rhythm, to bring back some sense of normalcy with activities that have long defined community, like their 35-member dance club. For nearly 3 decades, this region was the epicenter of one of the most savagely violent conflicts in recent history. The Lord's Resistance Army, or LRA, was led by Joseph Kony, who called himself a spokesman for God. The LRA's goal was to overthrow Uganda's government, a campaign that displaced close to 2 million people. As many as 35,000 children were abducted, deployed as servants, sex slaves, and soldiers.
Out of a landscape that still looks full of rubble, still shattered from years of conflict, a monument to the lives of 28 civilians who were massacred here in 2002. 28 out of an estimated 100,000 civilians who lost their lives.
I can still remember that clearly, the day I was abducted.
Ricky Richard Anwar was 14 when he was abducted alongside his older brother.
These people rounded up our family members and set them ablaze. While we are watching, they closed the door and they set the fire ablaze while they were asking for mercy. It was the darkest moment in my life.
Horrific as that sounds, it was far from the most brutal incidents.
This is one of the saddest massacres in northern Uganda, where people were cooked in the pot and
Cooked in a pot?
Yeah. When we had the bomb...
Anwar was among a lucky few who managed to escape, returning to his native town of Pader. He then learned that his brother had escaped a year earlier, only to commit suicide soon after doing so.
That is why we said here, you must put it in what?
The son of a school teacher, Anwar and 2 other survivors founded the Friends of Orphans School in 1999.
These are children of people who were killed during the war. These are very bright children. What they lack is the resources to educate them.
2 decades on, about 300 young adults are enrolled, by now the children of the former child soldiers. They've been shunned and stigmatized socially, Anwar says, so the first task is to provide them with a safe space to just relax, play soccer, or play an instrument.
We use our stories to tell these children what happened to us, and with that they get connected and open to us and begin working on the journey of their life.
Then it's on to learning skills that are, at least in theory, in demand in the region. Sewing and tailoring, masonry and building. Ricky Anwar guided me through the area's towns. We visited a welding shop.
The electricity is always on and off.
Power cuts are frequent, including on this day. Its 7 workers are paid by the piece, so no work means no pay. Next stop, a music recording studio, Big Sound Productions, was started in 2011 by a former student at Ricky Anwar's school, 30-year-old Charles Anwar, who's not related.
How is business now?
Business now, it is okay, but then I don't have enough machines. I have the knowledge for the work, but I don't have good machines.
Nearby, 1,000 children attend this primary school in abysmal conditions, far worse than elsewhere in Uganda. Anwar's group provides basic supplies for about 100 of them.
Most of these children, either they have worn out uniforms or they don't have footwear. We've selected children, those who are extremely needy.
Just how needy? I asked teacher Andrew Komakach.
How many of these children have breakfast?
None of children.
About lunch?
No, there's no lunch for children.
Do you think they are learning much?
I don't think so, because when you are hungry, you cannot even study well.
One of the paradoxes about trying to bolster education in this area is that the best and brightest are more than likely to leave for cities like Kampala. The Friends of Orphans organization says over the years that it has about 100 youth who've gone on to earn college degrees. Of those, only one has stayed in the area.
His name is Ronald Okello. He was abducted by the LRA at age 11 in 2001. 4 years later, he lost his right arm in a gun battle, was captured by the Ugandan military, and taken to a hospital before being released. Ricky Anwar found him by chance wandering on the street as he drove by.
I had to stop and I reversed back and asked him who he is, and he said it's Ronald.
So he took me to Kampala, very good school in Kampala.
And then did you also go to college?
Yeah.
He scrapes by, he says, buying used shoes and household items in Kampala and reselling them in local markets like this one. Even for a degree holder, the prospects here are bleak.
Most of the international donors do not want to fund projects in this area because they feel the war is now over. The international media's attention always goes to where there are fresh wars around the world.
Some aid has slowly trickled in, like roads and power. It's hardly enough, and there's even less for social or reconciliation programs. Back in Lamunu, where Ricky Anwar's group has provided some assistance before, the community turned out to plead with him for more help, a well for water, farm animals, proper clothing for the traditional dance group.
Beg to kindly request for support.
For the PBS NewsHour, this is Fred DeSam-Lazaro reporting from Pader in northern Uganda.
And Fred's reporting is in partnership with the Undertold Stories Project at the University of St. Thomas in Minnesota.